Hearing over VVPAT issue is taking place in the Supreme Court. The hearing over plea for 100% VVPAT verification is underway. We are learning the Supreme Court judges have made some key observations in the case. The court has told the EC that it must ensure a clear process is undertaken. The Supreme Court has said there has to be sanctity in the electoral process. This is the big development now taking place. At the moment we are learning the hearing is underway in the Supreme Court, and some important observations have been made by Supreme Court judges in the court today. Let me go across to my colleague Sunil Prabhu, who's getting us more on that. Sunil, we are learning important observations made in the court. The court has told the Election Commission it must ensure clear process and there has to be sanctity in the electoral process.
That's right. Firstly, of course, we must tell our viewers that the Election Commission has, the Supreme Court has asked the Election Commission to look into the report that has come from the Kerala Daily Manorama, where when their mock exercise was taking place, it is alleged that extra votes were being given to the BJP in the EVM. The court has asked the Election Commission to cross-check, verify and report back to them at 2 o'clock because they're hearing this entire matter. As we speak, the Senior Deputy Election Commissioner, on behalf of the Election Commission, who is in charge of this entire process, the EVM process, is briefing and explaining the whole process to the Supreme Court judge, the bench, as well as others, to explain, as you rightly pointed out, the entire sanctity, the entire process. How does the control unit work? How does the SLU, that is the single loader unit work? How does the VVPAT unit work? How does the EVM work? The entire technical process, which is extremely complex, how the commissioning takes place, how it's put on the big screen, how every candidate is part of the entire process, and the judges are going threadbare through the entire process in terms of how it can be done. For example, in terms of when they say software, he says, no, it's not software, it's firmware, and trying to say that it is a flash drive when the load, when you're loading, for example, 3 candidates or 5 candidates in the electoral process, that memory disk has to be on a single, computer. It should not be used by any other, but that has not been specified. So the court saying that should be done. An entire process of threadbare of how the EVMs, electronic voting machines, how it's related to the VVPAT is being undertaken as we speak in the Supreme Court, which is hearing this entire case.
Absolutely. And Sunil, as you also pointed out, the Supreme Court also earlier had said, while hearing the matter, that it is going to be a tedious process, 100% verification, of course, if it is undertaken. This is going to be a massive exercise. But now the observations being made in the court, where the court has said that there has to be sanctity in the electoral process, there should be a clear process undertaken. How does this reflect? What does this suggest now?
What it reflects is basically what the petitioners have been pointing out. Basically, you and me earlier used to, cast our ballot. So it used to be on paper. It was verified. It was accepted. What the petitioners are arguing is now we put it on the EVM. We don't know whether that actually, goes back into a trail. It's a push of a button. And it is it is printed out on a thermal paper. It is not verified. We are not sure exactly that entire process is done. The Election Commission is trying to argue and explain and say that this is a completely one standship process. There is no hanky-panky in the entire process. It's absolutely foolproof. And it's in this context that the Supreme Court is hearing this matter and finally will take. But I think clear indications have come from the bench that they're unlikely. And if you're expecting any big change, they're not going to go back to the ballot box. That's not happening. There might be some tweaking, if at all, but at this present juncture, they just want to assure all the voters, the millions of voters who are going to cast their ballots from tomorrow, that the entire process is clean, it has a sanctity, and it is foolproof.
All right.